Allegiance and flag invocation, or the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'll bow your heads. Father God, we come to you this morning. We are so grateful to be gathered together. We just ask that you move mightily through the decisions that we as a city commission make, and Father, and we ask you to guard and protect each and every one of our residents. Father, we ask you to guard and protect our first responders, and we are so grateful for the way in which they take care of us and our city. Today, Father, we also ask that you keep the military personnel, not only overseas, but also here, safe. And today, we are so grateful to be called into your service. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Any changes to the minutes? None being, they'll stand as approved or stand as presented. Item 5 is public comment. This is a time where we have anybody from the audience come forward and speak to us on any item that is not on the agenda. We give you 5 minutes, and if you do, please come forward and state your name.
And Mayor, I know that we have representatives from the Symetra Tour that are here, and they had asked to address the commission.
Sure.
We'll invite them up at this moment.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, this is my first commission meeting, so.
No.
You're doing good so far.
It doesn't have to be your last.
I'm an intern, so you guys
Yeah.
deal with me. But first off, my name is Hannah Arnold, and I'm really happy to be here. And this is my 3rd or 4th time in Garden City, so I really do like this place a lot. And the tour means so much to me, and I'm sure it's our job, so it's really good to be back here. And first, special thanks to the Mariah Fund and doing what I'm sure that a lot of people don't get a chance to do, and that's affect other people's lives and the lives of the young women in this community. Just us playing here, but also the high school also is going to benefit as well. I wish I would have had something like this when I was in high school. I mean, we just went and played golf tournaments, and we didn't really have much support, but the support here is awesome, and thank you guys for that. It's really, really appreciated. And like I said earlier, I really like Garden City. I enjoy coming back here every year. Some of my favorite restaurants are in this area. The Traditions and Soda, best place ever. The Thai food is great, and the golf course is really awesome. It's a really good test of golf. With all the wind out here, this is big grown women golf that we're playing out here. Not many people can hit into the wind, so it's a great test of golf. And I just wanted to say thank you guys for having us here, and hope to see you guys out this week. Get a lot of people out. It'll be a lot of fun.
Sounds good. Thank you, and welcome back again.
My name is Leslie Klotz. I'm from Antwerp, Belgium, and it's my first full year out here, so I didn't get to play last year, but I'm excited to be here because I heard a lot of girls said it was a tough course, so I'm always up for that. I have a few friends participating in the clinic tomorrow with all the high school kids, and they're really, really excited about that. And kind of what you said about like hosting a tournament in a town, I've been actually thinking about lately to bring a bigger event to Belgium. So I was actually really intrigued to see today what this is all like and what it's like behind the scenes and the support and what it takes. And yeah, really, I know all the girls out there on the tour really appreciate just any tournament that we can get and coming to Kansas. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
You have any
Welcome.
Any questions?
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck in the tournament.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the work that Assistant City Manager Cunningham has done directing the tournament.
Speaking of which, one of the things I believe she did is leave a copy of the schedule for
Mm-hmm.
her and Jared. Monday was an unofficial practice day. Today's a practice day. The course is closed to public play. It's for the pros only. There's a pairings party tonight at Lee Richardson Zoo. And then tomorrow, both morning and afternoon pro-ams. Thursday's an off day, except for those that will be involved in the junior golf clinic. You heard the mention, the beneficiary this year is all the high school girls golf programs in the 22 county area. And then the pro tournament, of course, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We encourage people to attend. If you are attending either as a volunteer or as a spectator, you can park at the fairgrounds parking lot on the east end and take a shuttle out to the course. The parking is for pros and Symetra Tour staff only. So, exciting week and busy week for a lot of folks around here.
Anybody else before we move on? Okay, let's move on.
Item 6A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a request from Vicki Harshbarger on behalf of Mosaic to allow the mayor to proclaim the week of September 9th, 2018 as Direct Support Professionals Recognition Week. And I believe Vicki's here.
Thank you. We always appreciate the openness of the commission to allow us to bring our concerns to you. Joining me today is Martha Ortega, right? One of our wonderful direct support professionals who work with people with intellectual and development disabilities and is key to bringing out the best in the people that they support. Day after day, they light the path to a meaningful life in a caring community, giving a voice to the needs of the people they serve. Mosaic is pleased to shine a light on the workforce during Direct Support Professionals Week. This week provides opportunities for people to celebrate the important work that the DSPs do alongside people with disabilities and to advocate for public policy that allows DSPs to continue to do the work they do so well. Nationwide, there is approximately 3.6 million direct care workers assisting people who require professional support to live as independently as possible in their communities. Here in Garden City, Mosaic supports approximately 125 people through the work of 117 employees and contractors who provide these supports. Direct support professionals are the heart of changing lives for people with intellectual disabilities. They ensure that every person we serve has an opportunity that shape a meaningful life on their terms. Mosaic is a provider of disability support services to more than 3,700 people through programs in 10 states. Services are tailored to meet individuals' needs and goals and range from residential to medical services through job coaching and teaching independent living skills. Mosaic is affiliated social ministry organization of the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America and a member of Lutheran Services in America. Mosaic is a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and if you would like to know more information about the wonderful direct support professionals or any of the job openings or anything like that we have, please visit www.mosaicinfo.org. Thank you for your time.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the proclamation for the week September 9th, 2018, Direct Support Professionals Recognition Week.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Burns seconds. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. I will be down. Let me sign this right quick. I'll read the proclamation. I guess I could have done it from there, but I'll do it here. Proclamation reads, whereas the week of September 9th, 2018 has been designated as National Direct Support Professionals Recognition Week in order to celebrate and recognize professionals who provide support to millions of individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And whereas the celebration recognizes, I'll move this way, the celebration recognizes the dedication and vital role of direct support professionals in enhancing the lives of individuals with disabilities of all ages, and whereas the community plays a role in lifting up direct support professionals as integral in supporting the needs of people with disabilities and their families through service systems across the United States. And whereas the goals of this city properly give recognition to those who directly helps the people with disabilities gain full access to housing, employment, and the recreation activities which help create productive and satisfying lives and to live as independently as possible. Now therefore, I, Roy Cessna, Mayor of the City of Garden City, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the week of September 9th, 2018 as Direct Support Professionals Recognition Week in Garden City, Kansas, and call upon the citizens to observe the week with appropriate programs and activities. Furthermore, I encourage the citizens of Garden City to seek information from those organizations with expertise in matters concerning professionals who support individuals with intellectual and development disabilities. Signed and sealed this 4th day of September 2018, Roy Cessna, Mayor. Oops. All right. Congratulations. Thank you.
Vicki, Martha, thank you on behalf of all that you do, so thanks for coming.
Next item.
Next item.
The governing body is asked to consider and approve a request from Marty Dinkle with Finney County RSVP to allow the mayor to proclaim September 11th, 2018 as Day of Service and Remembrance Day.
Entertain a motion for that proclamation.
I'll make a motion for that proclamation from.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That item passes.
Next item, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a request from Tammy Tabor, Garden City Community College, under Code Section 635 and 6133, to allow possession and consumption of cereal malt beverages or alcoholic liquors at Lee Richardson Zoo in the Finup Center on Monday, September 27th from 6 to 11 p.m. for a Kansas Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admission Officers event.
Entertain a motion to approve that item.
I'll make a motion that we approve that request for the Garden City Community College.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
And item 6D, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a request from Valerie Smith, High Plains Public Radio, under Code Section 6133 to allow possession and consumption of cereal, malt beverages, or alcoholic liquors at High Plains Public Radio on the following dates: Friday, September 7th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., Saturday, September 15th from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday, September 28th from 6:30, on Friday, September 28th from 6:30 to 9 p.m. for the purposes that are described in your memo. Staff recommends approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's been a second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
And then we did have an amended agenda that went out this morning. The change in the agenda is this item, the inclusion of a request from Eric Siena Tiempo on behalf of the Appliance and Furniture Mart for a waiver to the temporary structure requirements for September 13th through October 1st in conjunction with their tent and sidewalk sale. Staff recommends approval.
I move we approve that request from Appliance and Furniture Mart. Yeah.
There's been a motion, and Commissioner Andrew made the second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passes.
I was an aye.
Oh, you were an aye?
Yes.
I didn't
Aye.
hear that. Oh, you were an aye, or?
Yes, I just was slow on the gun there.
Oh,
so.
okay.
Slow off the blocks, I guess.
All right. So, all ayes on that.
I just
Sounds
wanted
like.
my vote recorded.
Okay. Sounds good.
Item 7A, the Southwest Kansas Coalition had their meeting last week. It was a number of items of presentation. I think we developed a consensus around an legislative agenda that we'll prepare and then put before each of the three commissions specifically. Kind of the focus of the meeting was certainly preparing for the next legislative session, but also the next round of long-range transportation plans. And so there's a legislative task force meeting that's in October that will be here in Garden City. And the Southwest Kansas Coalition will present specifically at that, and we'll again work on that testimony as well. Also, another item that we took up was recognition of a special contribution to the efforts of the Southwest Kansas Coalition. So if I could have Steve Cottrell join me at the podium.
Almost didn't come, sir.
Yeah.
Well, we still would have given this to you because we engraved your name on it. So you're about the only one. But in recognition, Steve, of your contributions to the Southwest Coalition, and specifically as they relate to transportation, the Southwest Kansas Coalition voted at their meeting, or all nodded their heads in consensus because we can't vote at the Southwest Kansas Coalition. And everybody present, including some of the media present, agreed to keep it a secret until today. So we'd like to present you with a Champion of Transportation Award in recognition of your outstanding contributions to the mission of our regional partnership. This is from the cities of Dodge City, Liberal, and Garden City. Congratulations.
Speechless? Or, oh, no.
Oh, no.
Steve's never speechless.
Yes, sir. I'm always good for something. Transportation is a big part of my professional career and life, and I thank you all who nodded. Thanks.
Let's get a picture right quick.
Take it out.
Take it out of plastic.
With the glare.
Good thing about nodding is there's no recorded vote, so you don't know if it was 2-1 or...
Yeah.
It was close.
I know how that goes.
Yeah. Some gave half a nod.
Was half a nod, half.
Be careful, it's chocolate.
Okay.
All right. Congratulations.
I did want to say just one thing to Steve. I really, lots of times we think of transportation as airplanes and trains and cars, but I'll tell you, I appreciate his championing on walking trails and bike trails, and you know, there's lots of modes of transportation, and so I never realized until Steve educated me several years ago, but I really appreciate the work you've done in our community with the walking and the biking trails also, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Item 7B, former Garden City Commissioner and Mayor Ken Minter passed away August 27th at age 91. He was elected to the City Commission in 1969 and served until 1972. He was mayor in 1971. Mr. Minter served this community in a variety of capacities and contributed to, and continued to visit city offices and city commission meetings throughout his life. Our condolences go out to his family and friends. Items C through G are staff reports. If you have any questions on those, I think most of that staff is here. Commissioner?
I did have one, although I don't see Chief here, but this is regarding item G, the police department report.
Okay.
And I just made a note that I saw that in evidence seizures, seizures are up 89% for the year compared to 2017, and then newly recorded are 186 grams of heroin have been recovered, and yet a decrease in meth and prescription pills. And I guess my question for the chief was, is this reflective of maybe just one incident, you know, where there was a rather large bust, or is this actually a changing trend as we look at, you know, the substances trafficked through our community? And I know this is of interest to law enforcement and the county as well, you know, just by the community and the opiate summit. So I wanted to see if he wanted to clarify that, but since he's not here, I don't know.
Captain,
Wait.
your choice
Cap-
as to whether or not you answer that or let the chief know so that he can get back with the commission.
I guess I get thrown under the bus on this one.
No bus. There's no bus.
It was absolutely not one big bust.
Okay.
It's probably over the course of time, but we'll get you a better answer. We'll talk smartly after maybe I've been here for more than 2 minutes. So
Very good.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Captain.
I was curious also, I know I heard on the radio about, this is for the airport, I know on the radio that Texas is receiving several of the grants for improvements to the airport. Is that the same grants that we're applying for? Or is it different, Rochelle, or? There's 3 actually airports that have received, I mean, I think Amarillo is one, and I know Dallas is one, but I can't remember.
Without knowing the specifics, I can't really answer that, but there's kind of 2 different folds of grants going on right now. There's the typical AIP grants, and then there's the AIP supplemental grants, which is part of that $1 billion that President Trump allocated to airport infrastructure. So it's probably one or the other. Like you brought up, October 2nd, the commission will consider the grant for the supplemental funding for the terminal project. So that's what we're going to go for. They could have received the first wave of funding, or it could just be part of the typical AIP grant
Great,
appropriation.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any other comments or concerns? All right. Meetings of note, yeah.
You'll see below meetings of note. If any of those require RSVPs, please do those through the city clerk. I think with that, we're ready for item 9A, which is the appropriation ordinance. If approved, it would be ordinance number 2466-2018A.
I move that we approve appropriation ordinance number 2466-2018A.
I second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passes.
Item 10A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the standard traffic ordinance for 2018. And I'll invite Mr. Dummermuth up here to present this item.
Mayor, Commissioners, good afternoon. As you can see in the STO for this year, there have been a few changes. The material changes have been outlined in the memo. Hopefully some of you have had a chance to look those over. Does anyone have any questions about that?
I had a comment that I just wanted to emphasize for the public, and that I thought was a good addition, was the addition of the penalty for overtaking a school bus, and that the first incident will be a $315 fine and up from there. And I thought that was actually a useful addition and use of a penalty. And I think that in other communities we've seen that too, but certainly I wanted to point that out to folks so that they're careful about that.
I guess my question on that is have we seen many infractions on that and the steep incline of penalties for the second and third offense? I mean, are we seeing people routinely passing the buses, and that's why we've increased them that much?
I have not seen those cases set for court. A
Okay.
lot of those cases would be probably paid at the window, like other speeding tickets and
Sure.
the like.
Okay.
Certainly, we can get you that information.
And
In the changes that are those increased fines, those were proposed by the Kansas League of Municipalities.
Okay.
And I believe
That's
that
fine.
those do follow statutory changes
Okay.
on the state side. So that was one of the things that was updated on our side.
Sure.
I was curious about the section, the 174 horns and warning devices. Is that going to require anything to our waste collection vehicles? Are we going to have to make any changes to those, or are they already equipped this way? I haven't noticed, so I didn't know if we had already made all of these changes, or when we order them, they come with these changes.
No, is that for me?
I don't know who.
Sam?
I don't.
Oh, I guess it's not here. I believe we have the appropriate warning devices on our.
So we wouldn't have to do any
Yeah,
upgrades.
and if we don't, we would change them out. But we were asking this question last week. Sam was out of the office, so weren't able to make sure, but I think in the checking that we did do, that we believed our vehicles were in compliance. Now, we also have a commercial hauler that comes
Right,
and
right.
gets trash, so we need to check and make sure they're in.
I didn't know if there was like a
compliance.
waiting, or like we'd have time to build that into our budget, or we had to do that by a certain date, or so. That's the only thing I was curious about on that one.
Yeah, it's a good question. We were asking the same one last week.
Okay,
so.
yeah.
One other quick question, is it just
Yes.
following on the section 30 under the influence, with the age change, is that just more statutory than city?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Those are two mere changes on the state statute side.
Okay. That's what I was thinking, but I thought I'd just check and make sure.
Sure thing.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion to approve as presented.
I make a motion to approve the ordinance as presented.
There's been a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
There's been a second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
You got the next
Then you got the next
item
one, too.
10B
Hello again.
is the governing
Yeah.
body's consideration of a uniform public offense code for 2018, and if approved, it would be ordinance number 2802-2018. James?
Thank you. Yes, Mayor and Commissioners, a lot of these changes are also changed to reflect the changes on the state statute side as well. The battery against law enforcement, assault against law enforcement, those have just been updated to kind of broaden the scope of that a little bit, and that's kind of what flows on through a lot of those, just broadening the scope of application slightly.
Okay. I make a motion that we approve.
Can I
it.
ask
Oh,
a quick
go-
question?
yeah.
Because I know this came up previously when you look at section 1028, the signage about use of tobacco products at playgrounds. I know we had a discussion about that a few months ago. I see now it's part of this ordinance. But that, we talked about enforcement and the issues around enforcement with that. I don't really see, could you explain this a little bit more as it regards to enforcement, or if there really is any ability to enforce based on this, the way this is worded? It's under,
On section 10.28,
12.
correct? Yes. And I apologize, what was your question on that again?
so I'm wondering, we had previously, when we talked about this, under our ordinance and adopting this, we talked about, well, how do you enforce this? What's the actual way that we're going to go about this? And I see that, you know, our playgrounds are listed. It's, the signage part is outlined under section A, but it doesn't really, I don't think it really gets at the discussion that we had during the commission meeting, certainly with Commissioner Dale. I think asked specifically about how to go about enforcing this. And I just wondered about your thoughts on this, as now it's included in the code.
Right, this is not an offense that I have seen charged yet, so do you have, what would be a specific enforcement question?
Oh, are we going to have patrols around this? I think that was
Going
kind of
in,
more of our
checking.
discussion about how much a workforce would be employed and how we would go about that. Am I recreating this discussion correctly, Commissioner?
I think so.
Okay. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know that was a concern, and as I saw this in the ordinance, I just want to bring it up. I don't particularly have a concern with it. I was all in favor of it. I just wanted to, I noticed that, and I thought maybe this was the time to ask about it, but maybe I'm the only one. Again, I don't want to bring up a discussion
Captain,
that
do you
doesn't
wanna-
must have.
Try to help answer this question.
Points of discussion, Captain Pruitt. Points of discussion.
I can help
Thoughts?
Jimmy out just a little bit. We're not gonna do extra patrol for this. It'll be situational.
Mm-hmm.
If we show up and there's other problems, this might be something that might also be charged, so.
Or if somebody were to report it, that kind of thing.
More than likely, if somebody reported it, we would go, and if there was somebody wasn't smoking right then, we would talk to everybody to remind them of the ordinance, and then warn them, and then tell them to have a nice day and enjoy the park.
I think that's kind of the assumption we all came to, kind of how it would work when we discussed it initially, when they proposed the signage, so. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mercer, did that answer?
I'll make a
Yes, sir,
motion
thank you.
that we approve ordinance number 2802-2018.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's been a second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item pass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item C, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the projects to be authorized in the 2018 general obligation bond issue. If approved, this would be ordinance number 2803-2018. Melinda?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. You're being asked to consider and approve the projects to be authorized in the 2018 general obligation bond issue. For the background, during the 2019 budget discussions, we talked about the street and park projects to be authorized to be included in the bond and interest fund for debt service payments beginning in 2019. The 2017 temporary note issue will be permanently financed in this issue, and we are asking for additional authority in the Water Act for an additional $1,194,000, Sewer Act $760,000. The Major Traffic Way Act, this is the 8th Street project from St. John to Walnut Street. The estimated cost is $1.6 million. $500,000 of that will be from the GO bond. And the Home Rule Authority is the construction of Pioneer Pathway. That's a total project cost of $796,000. The general obligation bond is $550,000, and the KDOT grant pays for part of that at $246,000. Also included in that Home Rule Authority is the Southeast Community Park, Phase 1 and 2, $1,030,000. So when you add all those together, your total bond issue that you're going to be looking at for 2019 is noted down below these payments. Let me see, where's that at?
Got a
I think that
calendar.
probably got taken out of the memo for now. There are several tasks that we need to complete, as noted in the calendar attached. On Tuesday, September 18th, you're going to be approving the resolution for the bond sale, and then the bond sale will take place October 16th. So your alternatives here are to adopt this ordinance that's been presented to you or defer it to a later date. If you notice in the fiscal note, the street and park project debt payments over 10 years are budgeted in the 2019 bond and interest fund, and the debt service for the sewer projects that will begin in 2020, and they will be budgeted for over 15 years.
Entertain it.
I'd make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2803-2018.
There's been a motion. Is there a second? There is a second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item D, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a rezone from C2 General Commercial District to I2 Medium Industrial District for property located at 1630 East Fulton Street. If approved, it would be ordinance number 2804-2018. Caleb?
Commissioners, you have in your packet the complete staff report that reviews this rezoning request that went before the Planning Commission on August 16, 2018, with all 6 planning commissioners recommending approval of this rezoning request. The applicant is requesting this rezone from C2 General Commercial to I2 Medium Industrial District. Any questions?
So I wasn't really sure what the difference, so what does this allow them to do? I was trying to figure that out, but I didn't get a chance
The
to
commercial
ask.
districts are retail oriented, and it's our most general district for commercial. And our industrial districts are for more heavy uses to be used at, whether manufacturing or some other manufacturing that may occur on there that are not necessarily have the same rules that would apply in a C2 area.
Do we know what this is? What's the use?
I do not know what the use is intended by the applicant. I do know that the applicant originally purchased this property and went through a conditional use permit to put in a car dealership. But since then, that project fell through, and he has another tenant that he's looking at that needs the industrial zoning district in order for them to.
So was the purple, is that industrial zoned also? That's why.
Everything purple is an industrial.
Okay, so that's just that one holdout right there.
Yes.
Okay.
Along Fulton Street particularly is one of our areas that we have a mixed-use area where it could go either commercial or industrial. We see this quite often along Fulton Street in our rezoning over the years, that it may be a commercial use at this time, but later on when they change the use of the building, it may go to an industrial type of use, particularly on the south side of Fulton.
I'll make the motion to approve ordinance 2804-2018.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you.
Mayor and Commissioners, the governing body is asked to consider and approve reopening the bid process to sell 2 parcels of surplus city property located at 401 and 403 East Kansas Avenue. The details of this bid process came before the governing body in July of 2018. The process came to a close on August 8th, 2018, with no bids submitted. After staff reached out to those that had requested bid packets, it was determined that bidders needed additional time and information to prepare a proposal. These lots previously held an apartment complex and a single-family residential unit, which were not in conformance with current zoning. Both structures were demolished and the vacant properties were used as a staging area for the construction project. The properties are currently zoned at C2 General Commercial Districts. By demolishing the residential units, the property's non-conformance status was terminated. The Kansas Avenue widening project was completed on September 23, 2017, and now the lots are vacant. Staff has determined that these properties can be developed to accommodate a commercial use compatible with the C2 General Commercial Districts. The lots will be required to be combined into one lot to accommodate such development. The combined parcel size is 0.34 acres, or approximately 15,126 square feet. The attached RFP outlines the process to evaluate ideas and to transfer the properties. Staff is requesting that the governing body proceeds with reopening the bid process to sell these properties beginning today, September 4th. The property would be listed by Deering, Grissel, and Cunningham. The process would begin with sealed bids. Bids would need to be hand-delivered to Deering, Grissel, and Cunningham on or before 4 p.m. October 29th, 2018. Each bidder will be given a receipt to confirm their submission. To be complete, each bid must include, first of all, the bidder's name, address, and preferred contact information. Second, any offer of $100,000 or more, or a written explanation as to why the bid is less than $100,000. For example, the benefit being provided by the type of development. Also include a description of the character and type of development, a timeline to complete the development, type of financing, any incentives that are requested, any waivers that would be requested, qualifications of the bidder and experience with the development proposed, preliminary drawings with sufficient detail to convey the intent, a time for closing, any other information that the bidder believes would be relevant to the purchase or development. More than one bid can be submitted, but projects must be substantially different. They're asked to provide one hard copy and one digital copy. Additionally, by submitting, the bidder agrees to pay cash at the time of closing and provide a $2,000 earnest money upon signing the purchase agreement. The bids will first be reviewed by the city attorney and assistant city attorney, who will then provide them to the assistant city manager no later than 5 p.m. October 30th. And then from then on, the bids would be reviewed, information prepared for the governing body's consideration. The final step in the process will be negotiating a development agreement. This will be done by City Attorney Grissel with the help of staff. The selected developers will be required to execute a developer's agreement that will have special requirements regarding the start date and completion date. The deed will revert to the city if the requirements of the agreement are not met. So your alternatives are to approve reopening the request for proposals as outlined, 2, to amend, and then approve reopening the requests for proposals, or to deny reopening the request of proposals and provide staff direction as to what to do with the properties. Staff recommends alternative 1.
I've got a question.
I do too.
Where'd we come up with $7 a square foot? Just who came up with that price?
Staff did comparative sales of property.
Similar.
And I don't know the specific properties, but we could provide that for you.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out if anybody's interested, but it seems like quite a bit. I know we had some expense tearing it down.
The
and
feedback we
purchasing.
got from the folks that were interested in bidding was that time was a bigger issue than cost.
Really? Okay.
That the turnaround time and when we expected to have the projects completed was the barrier.
I know the signs blew down about 4 times, but I don't know, we may want to get a better sign. I don't know.
Hey, you could do one of
because
those
they keep
flip signs.
blowing away.
See, Lynn, you could do a flip sign. So I have a question as far as, so I'm curious about, so I know that we as a city can sell property, and I know, has it always been our, and I'm asking because for historic, has it always been our that we do the selling, or is there a way to engage real estate companies to, because I know that the multi-list and they have some marketing techniques I think that we could greatly benefit from, other than having to pay out the commission. I'm wondering if that's something that we've done in the past, or is it something we haven't done?
We haven't always done it with requests for proposals. I would say in recent in recent times that's been the case. Specific to these properties, awareness or from kind of the benefits marketing would get you, whoever you use, would be to generate interest, having people pick up packets or call. And we definitely had interest this time. There were, I can't remember the number. I remember that it was over a dozen legitimate expressions of interest in this property. But really when it came down to it, we didn't get the bids. So, the commission certainly has the ability to list projects. There isn't one that's specifically coming to mind, but I would imagine City Attorney Grissel may be able to remember. I do know that as far as the agreement's concerned and closing, that can be done through during Grissel and Cunningham, and in my estimation, that's been prepaid, that work. So I don't know if you have anything to add,
I
Randy.
can't recall using a realtor lately. That's certainly an option at some point.
I thought when we decided to sell that was discussed that we was going to go ahead and the city was going to do that. I think we were asked about that.
Right, there's no question that what we've done has been in response to what the commission directed, but I think the commissioner's question is, have we ever considered that? And I can't speak for forever. I know the recent practice has been for the city to do it itself, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the past there was some marketable surplus property where we chose to use a realtor, and you could go through the selection process for deciding who your real estate agent was going to be, and that type of thing is how you'd go about doing that if you were interested in doing that way.
Because the other thing I thought was interesting too is I'm glad there were 12 inquiries or more, and I'm wondering if they were hooked up with or contacted the Findlay County Economic Development, because I know they've done some incredible work downtown, and I didn't know if their names or their proposals, or is it a sealed bid so they can't to talk about incentives, because I know they're pretty. Economic Development has done a great job with incentives.
For
So.
neighborhood revitalization,
Is that
this
what it
would
is?
qualify.
It would?
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's a great.
within the city, which would help quite a bit on property tax.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we approve the reopening, the request for proposals and the process outlined.
I I second.
It's been motion and a second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
Thank you. Item 11B, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the sale of property located at 3206 North Campus Drive through the included sealed bid process. So coming out of, well.
We approved to sell it.
Yeah, first of all, the city acquired this property for the Rec Commission back in 2005 at a cost of $63,000. And then the Rec Commission paid the city over a 3-year period. It's just a little less than an acre, has a round top building. The county appraisal has this residential property valued at $63,890. As finance director has told the governing body at the last city commission meeting, the Recreation Commission has a desire for a centrally located storage shop facility. Proceeds from the sale of this property would help fund such a facility, subject to city commission approval. Staff has used the sealed bid process on 3 other properties in the city, and if this process is approved, the city will post a sign on the property, a good one, and provide notice in the Garden City Telegram. If approved, a sealed bid process would officially begin September 4th. Bids would need to be hand-delivered to Deering, Gracell, and Cunningham, and each bidder would be given a receipt to confirm their submission. Bids would be accepted until October 8th and include the following: an offer of $63,890 or more, provide a written explanation as to why the bid is less, provide a time for closing and any other information the bidder believes to be relevant, along with their name, address, and best way to be contacted. Pretty much everything else is similar to the item you just approved. It is a little less earnest money, $1,000 instead of $2,000. Your options are the same. You can approve this bid process, you can deny this process, or suggest changes. Staff recommends alternative 1, approving the bid process for selling the property located at 3206 North Campus.
I move to approve the bid process for the sale of this property.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Dale made the second. Any other discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you.
Item 12A, the governing body is asked to review and reject the Pioneer Pathway bids received on August 22nd, as the only bid received exceeded the engineer's estimate. Caleb?
As you have in your packet the staff report, this project went out for bid and it came out over the estimated amount. Your alternatives before you are to reject the bid and authorize rebidding of the project, to defer action to a later date. Staff recommends rejecting the bid and authorizing staff to rebid the project. And the city's share of this project is $550,000 and is included in the pending 2018 GO bond that we discussed.
Caleb, are there some, what are the changes we would make in resubmitting the request for bids?
Well, the engineer would go through his estimate in the project and see if there's any modifications. One of the big things that we looked at is the time frame would have probably the biggest impact on possibly getting more bidders and more competitive bidding price, because we had a pretty tight schedule because of the grant that we have received on it. We wanted, our goal was to have it done before the end of the year. However, it's just not going to be possible at this time. We'll have to open that up to go further into the new year on that.
So you're anticipating it's just a time issue where people didn't have time to bid?
I think the timing is probably one of the biggest issues, and so we'll just we'll put it back. The city engineers are re-reviewing the specifications. If there's any modifications they may make on there besides the timeline, there may be a few small items that they'll put in the bid.
Is there an allowance then on the grant for us to change this time frame, or how does that impact
Yes,
the
we
grant?
have to turn this around fairly quickly to get a rebid back out in order to stay on schedule with the grant. If we miss that deadline, then we would lose the
Forfeit that
grant.
money?
Yes.
Is the city not able, I mean, I think our city's incredible what they do, but are they not able to do the trail themselves, or is it just because of manpower, or?
Yeah, we don't have the equipment or the manpower to be able to get it done in a timely fashion.
Who did Tally Trail? I'm sorry, I should know, but I don't.
That was Smith Sand Company.
So you gotta lay down asphalt, and we don't have any way to do that.
Well, that thing's lasted.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make the motion that we reject the Pioneer bid received on August 22nd as the bid exceeded the engineer's estimate and to rebid the project.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
I can't talk.
He was speaking softly, so not to.
Yeah, he wasn't leaning into the mic.
Yes.
It's extremes, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Item 12B is the consent agenda. There are no changes, so the appropriate motion, if you don't wish to pull anything from the consent agenda item, would be motion to approve 12B 1 through 5.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's been a second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
And that's all the business we have on the agenda, Mayor. We want to go to 13 commissioner reports.
Commissioner Unruh.
So I just wanted to, I'm excited about the Charity Classic and everything coming up this week, and it's going to be a full week, and so hopefully people can get lots of rest. And I know Wild Affair, and this is going to be a busy fall, and I love Garden City in the fall. There's lots of happenings, and so we want you to get out and do some things. I also want to say thank you to all the people. I know that Assistant City Manager Cunningham has done a lot of work on the Charity Classic, and I think also the Convention and Visitors Bureau is in full force, the Moriah Fund. There are so many people who have done some really great work. I also appreciate all the work our police and our fire force are doing. I'll tell you, this has been an exceptional year for us as a community. I was able to visit the Garden City Recreation Commission's meeting. Aaron Stewart wasn't there, but they did an incredible job talking about some of the really neat things that are coming up for them, and so I think they're really moving forward. The siege is coming up, so I'm going to see many of you there. I'm just kidding you.
Nah.
Lynn and I are doing it together as a team, as a cheerleading team, so that's coming up in a couple of weeks, but we're excited. Like I said, I'm excited about fall, and I just love Garden City in the fall and all the things that people are doing, so just wanted to say thank you to the community.
Commissioner Burns.
Yeah, so with the fall, I know I touched on this last time, but we have the November elections coming up, and the Chamber has arranged for us to host a governor's debate, governor's candidate debate on October 25th at 6:30 p.m. at Horace Good Auditorium, and I really encourage the entire community, whoever can come or make special plans now. It's a huge opportunity and so important, and so that's a huge opportunity, and I'd like to thank Mike and the Chamber for arranging that. And in honor of Labor Day, I sit around on Labor Day as my children are running around thinking about labor laws and reading my history. And this came up a lot in the 2016 election. It's been talked about a lot, but family leave and paid family leave. And so I started researching and looking around and speaking with our staff as well as the League of Municipalities staff about kind of what the direction of the state is going and what municipalities in our state as well as across the nation are doing. And we do have, in speaking with Matt and Allie, we do have paid sick leave here, which it can be used for family leave up to 6 weeks, and then looking at some other alternatives for use for the possibility of a disability insurance and these kind of things. Looking across the nation, several municipalities have adopted more paid family leave, and looking at the public pulse, people across political lines are in favor of this, and so As I spoke with staff at the league, they mentioned what a boon it's been to private businesses, and you see so many more private businesses expanding their paid family leave. And actually, the staffer that I talked to spoke about how wonderful it was that his wife's company offered 3 months of paid leave for them because it didn't exist at the league for him, and it kind of saved their family. So I would like for us to be a leader on this. There really isn't any municipality in the state of Kansas right now leading on this. And unfortunately, and the staffer made the comment as well, the public sector often lags the private sector. Well, I don't think that needs to be the case. And we've shown leadership in so many areas before. We have a working group on this of our employees. And so I just hope that can be something that we speak about a little bit further. Maybe it'll come up at the league meeting in October, at the policy meeting, and as we go forward trying to affect that, because I think not only as a recruitment tool and as a benefit to our employees as an organization and an employer, I think if we lead on this, then we're able to speak to other employers across our area and say, look, this is the way to be, and we've led on this, we've shown an example, we hope you'll do that. And it's a benefit across our community for everyone. So that's my commissioner report for today.
Commissioner Fankhauser.
I'd just like to comment on that. It's always been, I've always thought that we should just combine all sick leave, vacation time, personal days, just put it all together, use it any way you want, and not specify. And that would give you, some people have weeks and weeks of vacation time that they never use. So why not just call it days off and put it all together? So anyway, that was just one thing. Looking forward to playing the Classic tournament. Hope my game is up to speed. The Mexican Fiesta is Saturday, and I'm confused. I'm driving in that, and where is it going to start? At the north and go south, or is it south going north? I'm confused.
I will clarify that.
Will you? Because
Yes,
I've heard
because the email did say going
north.
south.
Yeah.
So I will clarify.
Okay. Let me know. I don't want to be driving all over. That's all.
And commissioners that want to be in the parade, just let Sealand know. Commissioner Dale.
I'll be praying for my commissioner friend that's going to be golfing, because he's going to need a lot of help.
Hey.
Take a bag of balls. Take a fresh bag of balls so you won't have to look for yours when you're playing best ball out there. But at any rate, Commissioner Barnes had as you've heard me say many times, that the number one asset that the city has is its employees, and I certainly would entertain a discussion in the future on the thing you had. It would, it'd be a lot of, it would take a lot of work for staff to be able to put that together and come up with a figure budget, which would be the biggest kick to try to do that. But I think that it's something that we can look at, and we could be a leader in the state again on those things. I think we should do that. I think I thank the chamber for bringing the gubernatorial event here to Garden City, because I don't know how many of those they have throughout the state, but to pick Garden City as an area for southwest Kansas and maybe even cover northwest Kansas too. But I think it's great. It's a good thing for our city. It'll bring a lot of press in and recognition for us, and I love this city, and it has so much to offer. And if you, just like the young ladies here, they were glad to come back, not because of the golf course particularly, but how they're treated here. I mean, we just have a way of saying this is a Garden City. It can be your home, and it's a nice place. So other than that, Mexican Festa this weekend, and the weekend following is the Oktoberfest, and I think that there's going to be the Downtown Vision has got a big lineup going there that not only got the booths and the other variety of things that's going to be going on Main Street, but there will be a car show, and there will be the Fulton Street Band will be playing there at the car show. We'll also have the first Camaro ever made will be on display there. It'll be 000 number 1. So you'll have an opportunity to come down and take a look at that. That's all I have.
Again, kind of echo what the other commissioners said. There's lots of activities and events going on in our community, so get out, get involved. Wanted to congratulate Steve for all of his hard work and recognition through the Southwest Kansas Coalition. It's great to have those three communities, Garden City, Dodge City, and Liberal, come together and really work not only to make our communities great, but the region a great place to live, work, and raise a family. Other than that, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
1 hour. Stop, Mayor. Look at that. Efficiency in action.
Office and visit, we kind of came up with this